All right, I think we're recording, aren't we? Let me double check just so I don't do this again. Stop share, recording. All right, we are good to go. Okay, so we're done with chapter 6, part 1. Okay, so if you have not taken that test, you need to message me and you need to take that test. If you're not taking that test, you have 0 in the grade book, and that is not a good thing. Okay, that means your grade is probably below 50%. And that's not passing. Okay, so all you guys got to do is take that test. I will put in your test grade and you will be above a 50% most likely if you're staying on top of your homework. Okay, so first things first, make sure you take care of that test. Second thing, let's just hop into substitution method. Okay, so we did graphing systems of equations, and we tried to solve the system by graphing, right? We got 3 solutions, or 3 types of solutions. The first one was a single point where they intersect, that's the solutions. The second one, if they were parallel lines, they did not intersect, there was no solutions. And the third one, if they were on the same line, that's infinitely many solutions because it's crossing infinitely many times, right? Okay, it's the same process here. We're just not going to do it by graphing. We're going to do it by something called substitution method. Okay, so let's look at the steps. The steps are in this box. Okay, so let's just read that and see if we can make sense of it. Okay, we want to get one of the variables, should be plural, in one of the equations by itself. So we want to isolate a variable. So we want to get x equals y equals, okay? Now we want to take that and substitute it into the second equation, the equation we did not touch yet. And the third one is we want to plug back into the value we already solved for. We want to plug that back into one of the 2 equations, doesn't matter. And then we'll get our other variable, okay? It's a pretty easy process, but sometimes this won't make sense until you see it, right? So let's go ahead and do, we can start with number 1. Okay, number 1's already done for us, but let's just rewrite it. So we have 3x minus y equals 6. 3x, oh, there we go. 3x minus y equals 6, and then what do we got? X plus 2y equals 2. Okay, so remember our first step. So we want to pick the equation that's easiest to isolate a variable. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Since I know this is x by itself and it's positive, right? It's just an x. I'm going to get rid of this 2y and move it to the other side. So this equation becomes x equals 2 minus 2y. Okay, I isolated a variable. It'd be the easiest, right? The top one, I would have to subtract 3x over and then divide by -1 if I wanted to solve for y. If I wanted to solve for x in the top one, I'd have to add y over, divide the whole thing by 3. It's a 2-stepper, okay? The bottom one's only a 1-stepper. Okay, so now once we have our variable isolated, we can plug into the equation we have not touched yet, okay, to make it all in terms of one variable. Okay, so here we go. I'll change colors to this step. Okay, so we get 3 times, this is what my x is. So plug that in, use parentheses, 2 minus 2y minus y equals 6. Okay, now we want to simplify and solve for y. So I got to distribute the 3 through. Okay, so we get 6 minus 6y minus y equals 6. Okay. Subtract 6, subtract 6. Uh-oh, I'm going to get 0. Negative 7y equals 0. Y is going to equal 0. Because 0 divided by anything is going to be 0. Okay, so now here is the third and final step. I'll switch colors. I'll go to black now. Okay, so I want to plug in into one of my equations this y value to find x. Okay, but here's the deal. Most people either plug into the top equation or bottom equation. Yeah, we can do that. It would give us our x, but is it the easiest? I don't think so. Don't we already have an equation where we solve for x? Okay, can't I just go ahead and plug 0 into this equation? And then that would be my easiest road to solve for x. Let's see. What's my y? My y is 0. Okay, so x is just going to give you 2. Done. Okay. So where do these 2 equations cross or intersect? Well, if you want to put this in an ordered pair and be all fancy with it, you would just put x comma y, and that's your solution. Okay? Drop my pen. All right, that's the first one. Okay, let's just run through these. Let's do little b. Sounds like a rat name, little b. Okay, so first step, I want to isolate one of my variables. Well, which equation is easiest? Okay, it's not going to be the bottom one. You can see that pretty clearly. It's going to be the top one. And what variable am I going to solve for? I'm going to solve for this x, right? Because it's isolated. Well, it's not isolated, but the coefficient's 1 and it's positive, so it's going to be the easiest. All I got to do is subtract 3y from both sides, and I get x equals 7 minus 3y. Okay, so now I'll switch colors. I want to plug that back into the equation I have not touched yet and get a solve for y. Okay, that's exactly how I solve for y. So we get minus 2, parentheses, 7 minus 3y, okay, plus 4y equals 6. We got to distribute again and rewrite. So I get negative 14 plus 6y plus 4y equals 6. Add 14, we get 10y equals 20, and y is going to be the big 2. Okay? Now what equation am I going to plug into? Well, I'm going to plug into the one I've already solved for x in, right here. I could plug into that one, but this one right here is going to be the easiest. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug that x in. I'll switch to blue. So we get, or that y in, sorry, we get x equals 7 minus 3 times 2. That's going to give me 6, so 7 minus 6 is x equals 1. Okay, go ahead and write it as an ordered pair, 1 comma 2. Now what does that mean? That's where they intersect. Okay, that's where they cross. All right, let's do C. Once again, which equation is going to be easier? Okay, they both are going to be pretty easy, right? But here's the deal. I'm going to pick to solve this top one. If you pick the bottom one, would you be wrong? No. Okay, but I'm going to pick this top one because all I'm going to have is this. I'm going to solve for y here. I'm going to subtract 2x over, subtract 2x from both sides. We get y equals negative 2x. I don't know. I like it better. I think it'll be easier. Okay, so let's plug this y back in to the equation we have not touched yet. We get, I'll switch colors. We get x equal, or x minus 5 times y, which my y is going to be my negative 2x, equals negative 11. Okay, we get x equal, or x plus 10x equals negative 11. X plus 10x is going to be 11x equals negative 11. X is going to equal negative 1. Okay, where do you plug that back into? You plug it back into this one. It'll be the easiest, right? So we get y equals minus 2, or negative 2 times negative 1. Y is going to be a positive dose. Okay, did I do that right? I don't know, double check me. Okay, if I did, send me a message. So you stupid, no, don't do that. Don't be mean. Okay, so right as an ordered pair, we get negative 1, comma 2, and we're done for. Okay, I'll leave the last one for you guys. It's got a fraction in it. You guys know I'm probably going to stay away from fractions on the test. So go ahead and try that one on your own. It's in the filled out notes in the folder. I've reorganized the folders for you guys to make it more clean, I guess. One last thing we need to talk about. So we only covered one type of solution that we're going to get. We only covered the one solution, the one single point where they cross. Okay. Now here's what it looks like if you get no solution. Okay, we get no solution. At some point in your process, in those steps, you're going to come across, you're going to get a number equals 0. Okay, or a number equals another number that's different. Okay, does this make any sense? No. No sense, no solution. Okay, this is actually a false numerical statement. Okay, and that's going to give me a no solution. If we get something that looks like this, infinite solutions, somewhere in your process, you get 0 equals 0. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does. Here's my trick. I don't know, those two things kind of look similar. Okay, if you get a number equals the same number, 5 equals 5. Okay, this is a true statement, so you're going to get infinitely many solutions. Okay, so if you get something like that in your homework, that's what that means. All right, see you guys, have a good one. I'll see you on, I'll probably make another video on Thursday. All right, guys.